Who's ready for a night on the cliff in a storm? Me. And you. I never know what it's going to be like out here because the climate here is very different than the climate at home, but it's actually feeling pretty similar to home. There's definitely more snow than I thought there was going to be. It is in fact snowing. I think it's supposed to snow/rain because it's like 0 degrees, so it's just at freezing. I didn't really look too far into the forecast, but there is a storm coming now. Woohoo! I really have just my big backpack, water, food, camera gear, some, that's about it. I don't really have many supplies because I knew I didn't really need to bring much for what I want to work on. So we'll just take our time getting down because my pack is quite heavy. Pretty recent deer tracks. They've kind of been looking around, checking out the view. Maybe they wanted to come visit me. And then they stopped here. Because they saw this. And they said, frig that, we're not going down there. And that's kind of what I feel like saying right now. I'm just trying to get down unharmed. I have a hockey tournament this weekend, and I do not want to get injured and not be able to play. Please let the cabin still be standing. Please. What's interesting is, like any space, this cabin has always had a certain smell to it, like its own smell. And it's been mostly the wood, like of the walls and stuff. But when I came in this time, it smells like an old house, like an old vintage house because of the vintage floor, the vintage fir flooring. You know how like old houses that have old fir flooring, they just have a certain smell? It's fir. Yeah. It's totally taken on a different smell. I like it. One of the things as well is I did bring another thing of sourdough, and I was going to cook it in the same way that I did in the fort, but I don't think I can. I don't think I will. And I will explain in a little while why that is. I'm just making some tea. You guys, the storm. So I didn't really know there was going to be this much of a storm out here. So I was like, it'll be fine. I feel like most of the time that I come out here, I do try to pick nicer days for obvious reasons. But it's kind of nice to be out here in a storm. We're like nestled, like cozied up in here. I knew there was a storm coming this weekend though. This was kind of like the pre-storm to the main storm. The weather has warmed up for us, which it probably has for many other people. It's warmed up and there's a ton of precipitation on the way, but it's going to be all rain. So all the snow is going to get so heavy and awful, and I anticipate a power outage. Bluetti is sponsoring the video today, and they had asked if I would like to have the B300K battery expansion battery that they offer to have a power expansion for any type of situation. It's actually compatible with my unit out here. I've got the Bluetti AC300 and B300, but I didn't really feel like I needed any more power out here, any more storage, battery storage capacity. And it got me thinking about my neighbors. And for the longest time, I have really wanted to help my neighbors out, Craig and Shelly. They run a business from home and power outages are like detrimental to them. Craig, I see running out to his truck. He has to keep his truck running. He does have like an inverter or something in his truck, but there's like extension cords running out the back of his truck. His truck has to run for however many hours the power is out, so that he can keep his computers running and his 3D printer running and all the things that he needs to have in operation to run his business. And for the longest time, I wanted to help them with a solution for power outages and waiting for the right system, for the right time. And I think I have found it for them. So this is her all in her sleek and modern glory, B300K battery pack. It has upgraded lithium iron phosphate battery cells, over 4,000 life cycles, which basically gives it a 10-year lifespan. It has 2,764.8 watt hours. It offers seamless compatibility. It effortlessly integrates into the AC200L, the AC200 Max, the AC300, and the AC500 series. For Craig and Shelly, we decided to pair their B300K with the AC200L. So the both of them combined is 4,812.8 watt hours. So I'm actually going to charge these up before I take them to Craig and Shelly so that it's ready for them for this weekend, because we are in a storm right now. So I want them to have everything ready and set to go.
The B300K isn't just an add-on, it's also a versatile power hub. With its USB-A port, power is always within reach to charge a variety of devices in the home, on the road, or off the grid. Craig and Shelly are pretty tickled pink at the versatility of this system as they do a fair amount of multiple day road trips and rugged camping, now with their toddler. The B300K is designed to excel in safety with the new upgraded automotive-grade lithium iron phosphate battery cells. When paired with the AC300, AC500 series, it offers fast charging of up to 80% in 45 minutes. Stack them, mix and match them, and the total expandable capability is 33,176 and change watt hours.
And Craig, less than 1 second, is there anything you want to say?
Thank you.
While it would be easy to take credit here, I have got to give credit where credit is due. So big thank you to Bluetti for sponsoring this video and for supporting me and my idea to help our friends Craig and Shelly out in setting them up with a top-of-the-line home battery backup solution. If you are looking to add a B300K battery pack to your entourage, or perhaps an AC200L, or both, depending on your needs, visit the link in my description. There's a lot of people interested in the fact, or surprised at the fact, that when I cooked my loaf of sourdough in the fort in last video, they were surprised that it did as well as it did. So what I did was I had taken the loaf and I put it in here, put the top on it, and I slid it underneath the wood stove because it was so hot under there. And it actually did a really good job in its most rudimentary form of cooking the bread, of baking the bread. So I wanted to try it out here. But there's a couple of big differences between that tiny stove that I have in the fort and then this tiny stove. And the main difference, so this is the Cubic Mini Grizzly. And so I didn't even really realize these legs are a lot shorter, number one. And while it is still very warm under here, it's definitely not as hot as the other stove. And that's because this stove has fire brick in it and the other stove does not. So the Cubic Mini Grizzly came with the fire bricks all in there, delivered like that. The other stove, when I got it, it came with no fire brick. And I asked the guy, so it's basically just a steel stove. I asked him why he didn't, and he said, it's up to me. I could put them in if I wanted to, but it makes it more efficient. But it also then makes the inside smaller, so your wood pieces are smaller. So he said it's up to you. It's sort of 6 of one, half a dozen the other. So I didn't put fire bricks in it, and I have the ability to put in bigger pieces of wood because of that. But because it's not as efficient, it lets, I think, a lot more heat out. So underneath of it gets way more hot than this stove does. However, I did get the roaster for this stove. So Cubic Mini sells like some accessories, and one of the other ones that I really want to get is the water chamber. I've never used it yet. So I'm gonna bake the bread in this instead. I recently bought a book on foraging in the Pacific Northwest, so wild edible things. So I could just sit here and read, bake bread, make spaghetti for dinner, and relax. It's tempting. I'm only ever out here just for short periods of time, not very often, so I've got to work. Eat all of this, and there was rat pee on it. I'm trying to remember where it was. I think maybe that's it. So this is the end I'm going to cut off. Thought I had, aside from the fact that there's like urine, rat urine on here, I could sand it down and it's fine. What I was thinking though is if I did like a waterfall countertop, so it goes down with a seamless top, like how I did that coffee table last year, and just run it straight down. I don't know if it's worth it. I would have to, gotta think about this. It's not gonna work this way. I would have to use the other front, the other live edge, because it's the wrong side that would come down. So I would have to kind of just pick what front I want. Do I want this live edge at the front with the knot, more character? Or do I go with the more plain live edge? All these questions. While I contemplate my decision and that lens gets defogged, let's put the bread in the oven. I'm not gonna win any awards on my bread art out here right now. I decided I would go for it. If I don't like it, I can always just cut the countertop again. I left myself a little bit of room and flip it around, but it's worth trying to see if I'll like it. I'm digging it. It's looking pretty good. Just as a very, very, introduction, just as an introduction. Obviously, it really needs to be finished up nicely. But, yeah. It's going to look really good. Actually, wasn't sure if I was going to like it. I don't know if we're going to get a brown top. I'll try and brown the top this way and put it underneath. For the pasta sauce I made. Noodles, bread. It didn't really brown it, you guys, so that's all we're gonna get. Oh my goodness, you guys, this is the most cozy this place has been so far. I'm so excited. I could use a table, but I'm not gonna complain. Okay, let's see what this bread is like. I didn't bring any butter, no. Wow. It definitely cooked better than the other loaf. So there you go. If your stove doesn't have fire brick in it, it'll probably get really hot below, but if it does, it might not get as hot, so then you gotta cook on top. Well, time to get in my fat girl pants. I've been eating too much lately. Gained 3 pounds. Who's a chubby monkey? It's about 9 and I'm gonna go to bed. I read, looked at the kitchen, looked around the place, brewed up some ideas about some different things, and yeah, one thing I'm trying to not do is stoke the fire too much. The last time I stayed the night here, it was just so hot I couldn't sleep, and the last time in the fort too, it was just too hot. So I will see you in the morning. Good morning. It's cleared up a little bit out there. I can see the lake now. Just about 6:30, and I slept good. It's probably the best I slept here in a long time, and I think it's because I kept it cold in here, so I didn't touch the fire at all. It was dying down before I went to sleep. I only got up once to go pee, but sky is brightening up a little bit. Calm, beautiful, so beautiful. Coffee's good and strong. And it's starting to get like socked in. I was just gonna fly the drone, and now it's starting to cloud over more. Not cloud, just sort of fog. For breakfast, I'm having overnight oats, which would actually technically be 24-hour oats, with all sorts of goodies. What I've been doing in the meantime for keeping the stove free-ish of creosote is I bought some of this stuff, so I put it in. It says every other fire. This book says that this stuff is edible. I think this is the same lichen. It says it comes off conifer trees. Should only be consumed when its fibers are dark in color. They may vary from brown to gray to black. That looks more green to me. But I don't know what other lichen it could be. I always just thought that was good fire starter. I mean, this definitely looks more green than gray, brown, or black, but it's like gotta be the same stuff. I think I'm gonna try it. What does that taste like? Slightly bitter, slightly nutty. It tastes like a campfire. Almost. A bit of a fire taste. But it says that it's traditionally pit roasted or boiled into a somewhat nutty tasting but bland porridge. It's usually sweetened or mixed with other ingredients for sweetness and textural diversity. It absorbs the flavor of the foods in which it is cooked. For example, it is traditionally cooked with berries to make a berry-flavored porridge, and it can be also used in breads and other baked goods when pulverized, and it can be used as a leavening agent. Interesting. It is slightly bitter. Taste and inspect the lichen carefully to ensure that it is black lichen and not an imposter. The best clues are color and taste. If it is not especially dark or has any noticeable bitterness, avoid the lichen and move on. It's kind of confusing because there are so many things that there's like imposters of. They're so similar. Anyway, I don't think I'll die. Okay, truly enough dilly-dallying. It's 9:15. I'm just enjoying my little home here, nesting and everything like that. But it's time to get something done. Ideally, I would plane this, but I don't have a planer here. Just trying to think, I milled this about 2.5 or 3 years ago. This pine, this is that same big lodgepole pine that I've used several times. A lot of it is the timber frame or the post and beam in this cabin. It's the same pine flooring that I put in the fort, the same countertop that's in the fort. That's all that same lodgepole pine that had the beetle kill. This has dried for the last 2.5 years, but it does have moisture in it now because it's been sitting outside in the snow. I should have kept it inside. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Don't have any wood glue out here, but I found this old tube of PL Premium. This was probably what I used to put the flooring down, or did I use it? I don't think I did actually. So this has probably been here for a while. It's probably been frozen. I don't know if that's okay. I'm just trying to think if I should try to put that together now. I'm probably not going to worry about, if I do it now, about the joinery of that waterfall edge. I don't really have a way other than to screw it and then maybe fill in those screw holes with filler. You're not really gonna see it, so it's probably okay. I wonder if I should just go for it. Because my blade didn't go all the way through, I kind of have this step. I was gonna try and sand it down, but I think I'm just gonna try and I think I'll be here for a while. But this is what we're working with. I need to sand this little bit here right in the inside and blend that down. But I gotta move. That's gonna come down any second. What it looks like now, but you know what, once I sand it, fill it in a little bit, it'll look as good as it needs to for this place. Okay, there it is sanded. Ideally, I did save some sawdust, but I don't have wood glue, so next time I'll bring some wood glue and mix it with the sawdust and fill that in a little bit better. After all that, it doesn't look good. The 90 degree isn't 90 degree, probably because my cut wasn't great. And it just doesn't look as good as I thought it was going to. I did actually move the dresser over. I thought the dresser should almost line up underneath the window perfectly. I was thinking I was going to add sort of a shelf in between the dresser and that slab, the waterfall slab. But that's not even, it's not even 90 degrees. So I think I'm gonna have to scrap it. Okay, you guys, trial number 1 or round number 1 unsuccessful. Or I hate to use the word unsuccessful. Round 1 done. We're going to move on to round 2. And the thing is I wanted to try that, and we never know what something might be if we don't try it. So I'm glad I tried it, and now I am ready to move on to round 2. So I'm going to clean up, head out of here. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.